Hello, good morning. So I have to apologize a bit because I've changed my timing again. I thought I'm going to do my daily talks in the afternoon or evening, but I decided it would actually be better for certain reasons to do it at around noon or just before noontime. So welcome, dearests, darlings, for joining me once again. And today we're going forward with the third step of Money Matters, third step to financial freedom. I know I'm simplifying it a bit, but really when we take a step back, what I'm doing for this first phase is it's all about focusing on awareness. The first step to financial freedom is first being aware and being brutally honest on where we're at. So if I recap, the first step is do your counting, recognize where your money is flowing in and out. And the second step is stop debting and live within your means. And again, I'm simplifying it for now. Of course, it doesn't mean that you can't have debt, but absolutely, if you're still in your first phases of the journey to financial freedom, you have to live within your means. And the next step, the third step, is something that's already been recommended a lot by a lot of financial coaches, wealth coaches, even financial planners. There's a book called The Richest Man in Babylon. And I don't know if you've read that. Many of you probably have encountered that book. But that was written way back in 1926 by a man called George Clason, if I remember the author correctly. And it is a classic in the wealth management and financial planning industry. And the very first principle recommended in that book, it's a parable about the richest man in Babylon and how he got to be rich, is that it's the third step I'm about to share with you. Pay yourself first. Remember the personalities, the money personalities, and I ask you which personality you are and the 4 personality types. Well, yesterday the topic about, or the second step about living within your means and stop debting would be difficult for the spender personality types. And this time around, the third step, pay yourself first, will probably be a challenge for the enabler money personality types. So if you're one of them, stick around. But this is actually for everybody. So if you haven't thought about it, consider it now. Pay yourself first. When you get and receive your paycheck, your income, your revenue, set aside a money and even create an automated account, an account that automatically debits that amount into your account, and pay yourself first. And many of this literature, like The Richest Man in Babylon, the recommendation is pay yourself 10%. So before spending on anything, even before paying for any debts, even before paying for your daily maintenance, you already automatically take out 10% from what you're earning and put it in your pay yourself account. Well, I call it savings account. Or better yet, you can call it your future self account. And we'll talk more about the different kinds of accounts that will make your life richer and more rewarding. But for now, have that account, set it up, and if you don't have that separate bank account, go to your bank, talk to them, and create a separate bank account. And in that bank account, this is something you should never touch, and this will serve you a great foundation later on. And I'll tell you more about what can you do and why you need to have that pay yourself account. In my case, I've gone way beyond 10%. So as I said, I'm an Ilocana, and in Philippines, Ilocanos like myself, it's a dialect group in the northern part. It's a regional dialect group in the northern part of the Philippines, known for being frugal. So frugal me was used to actually having a very limited income when I was in Philippines. So you can imagine moving from Philippines and then to Singapore, all of a sudden my income went bigger because I was earning in pesos. Now I was earning in Singapore dollars. And when I moved from Singapore to Australia, again, my income multiplied, but my spending patterns did not multiply or balloon out as much as my income. So I've been actually paying myself first, having that account, not just 10%. Easily, I probably would have set aside 50%, sometimes even 60 to 80%, depending on the stages of my life and what I was earning at the time. So I was saving aggressively in my 20s, in my 30s, but that didn't stop me from spending on the things that I value. As you know, I love traveling, and traveling is not necessarily cheap, but you can do it cheap, actually. But that's the point. Having then that account, having then that money and savings enabled me to then buy shares, enabled me to then buy property, and now I actually have a passive income because of that savings. So if you look at a lot of the young people who retired early, well, either they made the money through business, but also there are those who are not actively managing a business or are not necessarily actively working really hard for a job or business, but are investors. So to be in that path, if that's a path you choose to, especially with the younger people out there, my younger friends out there and family, if you do choose to be part of that FIRE movement, which stands for financially independent, retired early. And when we mean retired early, you could be in your 30s or 40s. Having this pay yourself first account is very, very important. That's like laying out the foundation for a big house. You cannot not have that. And again, this is a huge challenge, especially for enablers who just spend their money for everybody else and not save some for themselves. There's a lot of psychology and emotion when it comes to money. So even if I share with you all these simple steps, like counting, not debting and living within your means, and also paying yourself first, even though these steps may seem easy and simple, well, they are simple, they could be challenging for some people. And it's not challenging because you don't have the money or you can't find the money. It's challenging more psychologically than anything else. It's not that different from telling someone to look after their body and health, to lose weight and have more vitality. Why is it that a lot of us find that difficult? It really starts from the mind and from the mindset. But sometimes you just have to take action, and later on that gets reinforced. But if you really find it difficult, that's when a group of people or a community on the same path, in the same adventure to financial freedom really helps. So find your tribe, find that community who is on the same path. And if you want, you can join our prosperity circle. I facilitate these prosperity circles every 2 weeks. So we're meeting again, I think, next Monday. And if you want, just PM me or go to the links in the description. I also will be starting in October 1st a free 12-week program. It's similar to the Artist's Way, similar program that's written by the same author called Prosperous Heart, and it's a 12-week program, and we'll go through these steps and I'll walk you through it. As I said, there's a lot of mindset and psychology involved when it comes to implementing these deceivingly simple steps. So I've had my own trial and error, but I've been quite privileged, and at the same time I've been quite lucky because one, I had good parents who taught me good attitude towards money and saving, and two, I mean, culturally, I just belong to that kind of culture where we can be quite frugal about money. And third, I've been fascinated about personal wealth and financial freedom and independence ever since I was a young adult. So I already started learning and getting into the stock market since I was a teenager, since I was 18 years old. Of course, it was an on and off thing. And one thing that I learned was no matter how interested I was in investing, as young as 18 years old, I didn't have the money or I didn't have the capital. I could have borrowed, but as I said, the second step is, don't get yourself into debt if you're going to use that money to get into high risk investing, and investing can be highly risky if you don't know what you're doing. So at that point in time, I was young, I didn't know necessarily what I was doing, so it was prudent for me not to get myself into debt. But once I started saving money, especially from my scholarship, I started buying stocks. I didn't do well at the time, so I consider the losses as educational fee, learning from my mistakes. And that was way back in my early adult phase, in my early 20s, late teens, early 20s. But that never deterred me from saving money, paying myself first, and finally having enough money to go back into investing again, and it eventually paid off. So as I said, pay yourself first, and that's a step you couldn't skip if you want to join the journey to financial freedom. And so hopefully that's given you more nuggets to think about. And if you think, I just can't do it, this is too hard, you can. Join us, and if not, find the right community or tribe that could help you and encourage you and affirm you while being on the same path. So see you again tomorrow with our final tip for the week. I'm enjoying this Money Matters discussion, so I might extend it. We'll see. And let me know what you think. What about you? Where are you at? How's your relationship with money? Give me your feedback, comments, or if you don't feel comfortable commenting in public, just PM me. Have a wonderful day. Do you love my flowers? Yeah, some of them are starting to get droopy. I don't know what to do, but they're really pretty, aren't they? So here's to your flourishing and flowing positive juju, positive energy to all of you out there.